Indian Americans are Americans of Indian ancestry and comprise about 2.81 million people, alone or 3.18 million, combined with one or more races, about 1% of the U.S. population, the country's third-largest self-reported Asian ancestry group after Chinese Americans and Filipino Americans, according to American Communities Survey of 2010 data. The U.S. Census Bureau uses the term Asian Indian to avoid confusion with the indigenous peoples of the Americas commonly referred to as American Indians. History: the term, Indian, in the Americas, historically, Indian had been most commonly used to refer to the indigenous peoples. Qualifying terms such as American Indian and East Indian were and are commonly used to avoid ambiguity. While East Indian remains in use, the term South Asian is often chosen instead. The U.S. government coined Native American to refer to the indigenous peoples of the United States, but American Indian remains popular among the indigenous and general populations. People of Indian origin often prefer the term Desi to refer to the diasporic subculture of South Asians. Indian Americans are categorized as Asian Indian by the United States Census Bureau. Arrival in the U.S. It was after the Lucia-Cello Act of 1946 that Indian Americans were restored naturalization rights in the United States. A number of Indian Americans came to the U.S. via Indian communities in other countries including the United Kingdom, Canada, South Africa, Mauritius, Malaysia, Singapore, Suriname, Guyana, Fiji, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Trinidad and Tobago, and Jamaica. Demographics. According to the 2010 United States Census, the Asian Indian population in the United States grew from almost 1,678,765 in 2000 to 2,843,391 in 2010, a growth rate of 69.37%, one of the fastest-growing ethnic groups in the United States, although it is still one of the smallest communities in the U.S., not even 2%. The New York-Newark-Bridgeport, NYNJCTPA combined statistical area, consisting of New York City, Long Island, and adjacent areas within New York, as well as nearby areas within the states of New Jersey, Connecticut, and including Pike County, Pennsylvania, was home to an estimated 614,214 Indian Americans as of the 2012 American Communities Survey by the U.S. Census Bureau, comprising by far the largest Indian American population of any metropolitan area in the United States. New York City itself also contains by far the highest Indian American population of any individual city in North America, at approximately 207,414. As of May 2013, Indian airline carriers Air India and Jet Airways as well as United States airline carrier United Airlines were all offering direct flights from the New York City metropolitan area to and from India. At least 20 Indian American enclaves characterized as a Little India have emerged in the New York City metropolitan area. Other metropolitan areas with large Indian American populations include Atlanta, Baltimore, Washington, Boston, Chicago, Dallas, Fort Worth, Detroit, Houston, Los Angeles, Philadelphia, and San Francisco, San Jose, Oakland. U.S. metropolitan areas with large Asian Indian populations. While the table above provides a picture of the population of Indian American and Asian Americans in some of the metropolitan areas of the U.S., it is incomplete as it does not include multiracial Asian Americans. Please note that data for multiracial Asian Americans has not yet been released by the U.S. Census Bureau. List of U.S. states by population of Asian Indians, historical population, note, pre-1980 data refers to ethnic Hindus. Statistics on Indians in the U.S. In 2006, of the 1,266,264 legal immigrants to the United States, 58,072 were from India. Immigration from India is currently at its highest level in history. Between 2000 and 2006, 421,006 Indian immigrants were admitted to the U.S., up from 352,278 during the 1990–1999 period. According to the 2000 U.S. Census, The overall growth rate for Indians from 1990 to 2000 was 105.87%. The average growth rate for the U.S. was 7.6%. Indians comprise 16.4% of the Asian American community. In 2000, the Indian-born population in the U.S. was 1.007 million. From 2000 onwards, the growth rate and the percent rate of Indians among all the immigrants has increased by over 100%. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, between 1990 and 2000, the Indian population in the U.S. grew 130%, 10 times the national average of 13%. Indian Americans are the third largest Asian American ethnic group, following Chinese Americans and Filipino Americans. A joint Duke University-UC Berkeley study revealed that Indian immigrants have founded more engineering and technology companies from 1995 to 2005 than immigrants from the UK, China, Taiwan and Japan combined. A 1999 study by Anna Lee Saxenian reported that a third of Silicon Valley scientists and engineers were immigrants and that Indians are the second largest group of Asian-born engineers following the Chinese. Her research showed that in 1998, 7% of high-technology firms in Silicon Valley were led by Indian CEOs. A recent study shows that 23% of Indian business school graduates take a job in the United States. Socioeconomic, education. Indian Americans continuously outpace every ethnic group socioeconomically to reach the summit of the U.S. Census charts. Indian Americans, along with other Asian Americans, have attained the highest educational levels of all ethnic groups in the U.S. 71% of all Indians have a bachelor's or high degree. Almost 40% of all Indians in the United States have a master unregistered trademark S, doctorate or other professional degree, which is 5 times the national average. Thomas Friedman, in his recent book, The World is Flat, explains this trend in terms of brain drain, whereby the best and brightest elements in India emigrate to the U.S. in order to seek better financial opportunities. A study from Pew Research Center on June 19 showed more than 80% of Indian were holding college or advanced degrees, surpassing the previously Taiwanese average figure of 74.1%. Taiwanese American men still attained the highest bachelor's degree among men at 80.0%, but only 68.3% of Taiwanese American women had attained a bachelor's degree, with Indian American women having the highest percentage among women of all ethnicities and Indian American men being second only to the Taiwanese American men. 39.1% of all Taiwanese in the United States possess a master unregistered trademark S, doctorate or other professional degree, which is nearly 4 times the national average, compared with 40% of Indians who have a master unregistered trademark S, doctorate or other professional degree, which is 5 times the national average. Economics. According to the 2010 U.S. Census, Indian Americans had the highest household income of all ethnic groups in the United States. According to the American Association of Physicians of Indian Origin, there are close to 35,000 Indian American doctors. Among Indian Americans, 72.3% participate in the U.S. workforce, of which 57.7% are employed in managerial and professional specialities. As of 2010, 66.3% of Indian Americans are employed in select professional and managerial specialities, compared with the national average of 35.9%. In 2002, there were over 223,000 Asian Indian-owned firms in the U.S., employing more than 610,000 workers, and generating more than $88 billion in revenue. Culture, entertainment. Hindi radio stations are available in areas with high Indian populations, for example, Easy96.com in the New York Tri-State areas, KLOK 1170 AM in San Francisco, RBC Radio. Radio Humsafar, Daisy Junction in Chicago. Radio Salam Namast in Dallas. And Music Mesla, Fun Asia Radio, Sanjeet Radio, Radio Naya Anders in Houston and Washington, Bangla Radio on Internet from the Washington, D.C. metro area. There are also some radio stations broadcasting in Tamil and Telugu within these communities. Houston-based Kannada Karanji Radio focuses on a multitude of programs for children and adults. South Asian Magazine, SBR Magazine, Style and Beauty Resource, previously known as Sabs Bata Ruperia Magazine, one of the World unregistered trademark's leading publications, offers readers a print and online magazine filled with various beauty, health, fashion, and entertainment news and updates targeted to the young professionals in the Indian community nationwide. Several cable and satellite television providers offer Indian channels: Sony TV, Zee TV, Star Plus, Sahara One, Colors, Big Magic, regional channels, and others have offered Indian content for subscription, such as the Cricket World Cup. Many metropolitan areas with large Indian American populations now have movie theaters which specialize in showing Indian movies, especially from Bollywood. In July 2005, MTV premiered a spin-off network called MTV Desi which targets Indian Americans. It has been discontinued by MTV. In 2012, the film Not a Feather, But a Dot was released, which investigates the history, perceptions and changes in the Indian American community over the last century. Religions. Communities of Hindus, Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, Jains, Buddhists, Parsis, Jews, from India have established their religions in the United States. According to 2012 Pew Research Center, 51% consider themselves Hindus, 18% as Christians, 11% as Muslims, 5% as Sikh, 2% as Jain and 10% are unaffiliated. The first religious center of an Indian religion to be established in the U.S. was a Sikh Gurudwara in Stockton, California in 1912. Today there are many Sikh Gurudwaras, Hindu, Buddhist and Jain temples in all the 50 states. As of 2008, the American Hindu population was around 2.2 million, and Hindus are the majority of Indian Americans. Many sects such as ISKCON, Swaminarayan Sampraday, BAPS Swaminarayan Sanstha, Chinmaya Mission, and Svadhyaya Parivar are well established in the U.S. Hindu Americans have formed the Hindu American Foundation, which represents American Hindus and aims to educate people about Hinduism. Swami Vivekananda brought Hinduism to the West at the 1893 Parliament of the World's Religions. The Vedanta Society has been important in subsequent parliaments. Today, many Hindu temples, most of them built by Indian Americans, have emerged in different cities and towns in the United States. More than 18 million Americans are now practicing some form of yoga. Kriya Yoga was introduced to America by Paramahansa Yogananda. In addition, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada initiated the popular ISKCON, also known as Hare Krishna movement, while preaching Bhakti Yoga. Indian Muslim Americans generally congregate with other American Muslims, including those from Pakistan and Bangladesh, but there are prominent organizations such as the Indian Muslim Council, USA. Adherents of Jainism first arrived in the United States in the 20th century. The most significant time of Jain immigration was in the early 1970s. The United States has since become a center of the Jain diaspora. The Federation of Jain Associations in North America is an umbrella organization of local American and Canadian Jain congregations. There are many Indian Christian churches across the U.S. Church of South India, Church of North India, Syro-Malabar Catholic Church, Syro-Malankara Catholic Church, Nana, Indian Orthodox Church, Martoma Church, Malankara Syriac Orthodox Church, the Pentecostal Mission, Plymouth Brethren, and the India Pentecostal Church of God. St. Thomas Christians from Kerala have established their own places of worship across the United States. The website useindian.org has collected a comprehensive list of all the traditional St. Thomas Christian churches in the U.S. There are also Catholic Indians hailing originally from Goa, who attend the same services as other American Catholics, but may celebrate the Feast of St. Francis Xavier as a special event of their identity. As with other Asian Americans, Indian Americans are more likely to be Christian, and especially Protestant, than their compatriots in their original homeland, due to the fact that many Protestants in India emigrate to America because of the impact of efforts previously made by American Puritan missionaries in India for the spread of Christian faith. Such impact can be seen with the significant presence of Indian evangelicals in mainstream American churches. Indian American Protestants share similar values with their American counterparts, such as influence of gospel music within their churches, non-idol worshipping nature, evangelical activities for heathens, etc. The Indian Christian Americans have formed the Federation of Indian American Christian Organizations of North America to represent a network of Indian Christian organizations in the United States and Canada. FIACNA estimates the Indian American Christian population to be 600,000. The large Parsi community is represented by the Federation of Zoroastrian Associations of North America. Indian Jews are perhaps the smallest organized religious group among Indian Americans, consisting of approximately 350 members in the United States. They form the Indian Jewish Congregation of USA with headquarters in New York City. Ethnicity, like the terms Asian American, or South Asian American, the term Indian American is also an umbrella label applying to a variety of views, values, lifestyles, and appearances. Although Asian Indian Americans retain a high ethnic identity, they are known to assimilate into American culture while at the same time keeping the culture of their ancestors. They may assimilate more easily than many other immigrant groups because they have fewer language barriers, more educational credentials. Additionally, Indian culture, like many other Asian cultures, puts emphasis upon achievement and personal responsibility of the individual as a reflection upon the family and community. In countries such as the United States, Canada, and until more recently, the United Kingdom, there has been a large influx of Indian immigrants, beginning in the late 1960s. As a result of assimilation, mixed European and Indian backgrounds are becoming more prevalent. The 2001 U.S. Census Bureau unregistered trademark S publication of the 56,497,000 married couples, shows that overall the percentage of Indian males married to white females was higher than Indian females marrying with white males. Whilst for those who were U.S.-born the reverse was true, with more Indian females marrying with white males than Indian males married to white females. Linguistic affiliation. The United States is also home to associations of Indians united by linguistic affiliation. Some major organizations include, Telugu Association of North America, Association of Kannada Kuttas of America, Federation of Kerala Associations in North America, Federation of Tamil Sanjams of North America, North American Bengali Conference and Orissa Society of the Americas and Maharashtra Mandal. These associations generally put on cultural programs, plays, and concerts during some major Hindu festivals such as Diwali, Holi, Ganesh Chaturthi and other religious and cultural events such as Christmas and New Year. Immigration and Progression Timeline 1635, an East Indian was documented in Jamestown, Virginia, 1790, the first confirmed presence of an Indian in the United States. The Indian who came from Madras on a British ship travelled to the United States to promote trade links. 1899–1914, first significant wave of Indian immigrants, mostly Sikh farmers and labourers from Punjab region of British India, start arriving in California on ships via Hong Kong. They find employment on farms and in lumber mills in California, Oregon, and Washington states. 1912. The first Sikh temple opens its doors in Stockton, California. 1913, A.K. Mozumdar became the first Indian-born person to earn U.S. citizenship, having convinced the Spokane district judge that he was Caucasian, and met the requirements of naturalization law that restricted citizenship to free white persons. In 1923, as a result of a U.S. Supreme Court decision that no person of East Indian origin could become a naturalized American citizen, his citizenship was revoked. 1914, Dangopal Mukherjee obtains a graduate degree from Stanford University, studying also at University of California, Berkeley, and later goes on to win the Newbery Medal in 1928, and thus becomes the first successful India-born man of letters in the United States, as well as the first popular Indian writer in English. 1917, the Bard Zone Act passes in Congress through two-thirds majority, overriding President Woodrow Wilson's earlier veto. Asians, including Indians, are barred from immigrating to the U.S. 1918, due to anti-miscegenation laws. There was significant controversy in Arizona when an Indian farmer B.K. Singh married the 16-year-old daughter of one of his white American tenants. 1918, Private Raghunathan Binawalkar is the first Indian American recruited drafted by the U.S. Army on February 25, 1918 and serves in the Sanitary Detachment of the 305th Infantry Regiment, 77th Division, American Expeditionary Forces in France. Gassed while on active service in October 1918 and subsequently awarded Purple Heart Medal. Frank B. T. Bout, A History of the 305th Infantry, 431. 1918, earliest record of LGBTQ Indian Americans, Jamal Singh in Sacramento, California, 1922, Vile Brigada Subbarai, an Android from Andhra Pradesh in southern India arrived in Boston on October 26, 1922. He discovered the role of phosphocreatine and adenosine triphosphate in muscular activity, which earned him an entry into biochemistry textbooks in the 1930s. He obtained his Ph.D. degree the same year, and went on to make other major discoveries. 1923, the U.S. Supreme Court rules that people from India are aliens ineligible for citizenship in United States v. Bhagat Singh Thind. Bhagat Singh Thind becomes a citizen a few years later in New York. He had earlier applied and been rejected in Oregon. 1943, Republican Claire Booth Luce and Democrat Emanuel Salo introduce a bill to open naturalization to Indian immigrants to the U.S. Prominent Americans Pearl Buck, Louis Fisher, Albert Einstein and Robert Millikan give their endorsement to the bill. President Franklin Roosevelt also endorses the bill, calling for an end to the statutory discrimination against the Indians. 1946, President Harry Truman signs into law the Luce-Salo Act of 1946, returning to Indian Americans the right to immigrate and naturalize. 1956, Dalip Singh Sond elected to the U.S. House of Representatives from California. He was re-elected to a second and third term, winning over 60% of the votes. He is also the first Asian immigrant to be elected to Congress. 1962, Zubin Mehta appointed music director of the Los Angeles Philharmonic, becoming the first person of Indian origin to become the principal conductor of a major American orchestra. Subsequently he was appointed principal conductor of the New York Philharmonic. 1964, Amar G. Bose founded Bose Corporation. He was the chairman, primary stockholder, and also holds the title of technical director at Bose Corporation. He was former professor of electrical engineering at Massachusetts Institute of Technology. 1965, President Lyndon Johnson signs the INS Act of 1965 into law, eliminating per-country immigration quotas and introducing immigration on the basis of professional experience and education. Satinder Malik is one of the first to immigrate under the new law in November 1965, sponsored by Corning Glass Works. 1968, Harabine Khurana shared the Nobel Prize for Physiology or Medicine with Marshall W. Nirenberg and Robert W. Holly for discovering the mechanisms by which RNA codes for the synthesis of proteins. He was then on faculty at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, but later moved to MIT. 1981, Suhas Patil co-founded Cirrus Logic, one of the first fabless semiconductor companies. 1982, Vinod Khosla co-founded Sun Microsystems. 1983, Subramaniam Chandrasekhar won the Nobel Prize for Physics. Asian Indian women in America attended the first White House briefing for Asian American women. 1987, President Ronald Reagan appoints Joy Kerian, the first Indian Commissioner of the United States Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. 1988, Sanjay Mehrotra co-founded SanDisk. 1989, Rohit Jajasar founded ABC Radio, the first Asian Indian radio station in the U.S. and India's first satellite radio. 1994, Rajat Gupta elected Managing Director of McKinsey & Company, the first Indian-born CEO of a multinational company. 1994, guitarist Kim Thayil, of Indian origin, wins Grammy Award for his Indian-inspired guitar work on the album Super Unk known by his band Soundgarden. 1994, Raj Reddy received the ACM Turing Award for pioneering the design and construction of large-scale artificial intelligence systems, demonstrating the practical importance and potential commercial impact of artificial intelligence technology. 1996, Pradeep Sindhu co-founded Juniper Networks. 1996, Rajat Gupta and Anil Kumar of McKinsey & Company co-found the Indian School of Business. 1997, Kalpana Chawla, one of the 6-member crew of STS-87 mission, becomes the first Indian American astronaut. 1999, NASA names the third of its 4 great observatories Chandra X-ray Observatory after Subramanian Chandrasekhar, the Indian-born American astrophysicist and a Nobel laureate. 1999, filmmaker M. Night Shyamalan enters film history with his film The Sixth Sense becoming one of the all-time highest-grossing films worldwide. 1999, Rono Ducker becomes the president of United Airlines. 2001, Professor Deepak C. Jain appointed as Dean of the Kellogg School of Management, Northwestern University. He is the Sandy and Morton Goldman Professor in Entrepreneurial Studies and a Professor of Marketing at the Kellogg School of Management, where he has been a member of the faculty since 1987. 2002, Professor Kalyampudha Radhakrishna Rao, the world-renowned statistician, is awarded National Medal of Science by President George W. Bush. 2005, Abhijit Y. Talwalkar, President and Chief Executive Officer of LSI Corporation. 2006, Indra Nawar appointed as CEO of PepsiCo. She is a successor fellow of the Yale Corporation, sometimes, and more formally, known as the President and Fellows of Yale College, is the governing body of Yale University in New Haven, Connecticut. She also serves as a member of the boards of the International Rescue Committee, Catalyst and the Lincoln Center for the Performing Arts, trustees of Eisenhower Fellowships, and currently serves as chairman of the US-India Business Council. 2007, Bobby Jindal is elected governor of Louisiana and is the first person of Indian descent to be elected governor of an American state. He is inaugurated on January 14, 2008. 2007, Renu Khater appointed as the Chancellor of the University of Houston System and the President of the University of Houston on October 15, 2007. 2007, Francisco de Souza appointed as the President and Chief Executive Officer and a member of the Board of Directors of Cognizant Technology Solutions. He is one of the youngest chief executive officers in the software services sector at the age 38 in the United States. He was part of the team founded, in 1994, the NASDAQ 100 Cognizant Technology Solutions. 2007, Vikram Pandit appointed as CEO of Citigroup. He was previously the President and Chief Operating Officer of the Institutional Securities and Investment Banking Group at Morgan Stanley. He also serves on the boards of Columbia University, Columbia Business School, the Indian School of Business and the Trinity School. He is a former board member of NASDAQ, the New York City Investment Fund. 2007, Shantanu Narayan appointed as CEO of Adobe Systems. 2008, Treasury Secretary Henry Paulson appoints Neil Kashkari as the interim U.S. Assistant Secretary of the Treasury for Financial Stability. 2008, Raj Chetty appointed as Professor of Economics at Harvard University. As of today, he is the youngest person at the age of 29 to ever receive tenure of professorship in the Department of Economics at Harvard. He is one of the top 8 young economists in the world. 2008, Sanjay Shah appointed as co-CEO of Motorola, Incorporated. 2008, establishment of the South Asian American Digital Archive to document the history of the South Asian American community. 2009, President Barack Obama appoints Preetinder S. Bharara as United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Manhattan. Farah Pandith appointed as Special Representative to Muslim Communities for the United States Department of State. 2009, President Barack Obama appoints Anish Paul Chopra as the first American Federal Chief Technology Officer of the United States. 2009, President Barack Obama appoints Bhu Patel and Anju Bhargava on President's Advisory Council on Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships. 2009, President Barack Obama appoints Vinay Thumalapalli as the U.S. Ambassador to Belize. 2009, President Barack Obama nominates Rajiv Shah, MD, as the new head of United States Agency for International Development. 2009, President Barack Obama nominates Islam A. Siddiqui as the chief agricultural negotiator in the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative. 2010, President of Harvard University Catherine Drew Gilpin Faust appoints Nitin Nohria as the 10th Dean of Harvard Business School. 2010, President of University of Chicago Robert Zimmer appoints Sunil Kumar as the Dean of University of Chicago Booth School of Business. 2010, Devon Sharma appointed President of Standard & Poor's. 2010, Ajay Banga appointed President and CEO of MasterCard. 2010, President Barack Obama nominates Subra Suresh, Dean of Engineering at MIT as Director of National Science Foundation. 2010, year marks the most number of candidates of Indian origin, running for political offices in the United States, including candidates such as Kamala Harris and Ami Bera. 2010, State Representative Nikki Haley is elected Governor of South Carolina, and becomes the first Indian American woman, and second Indian American in general to become governor of an American state. 2011, Jamshid Parukh named President of Cooper Union. He was formerly Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Sciences at Dartmouth College and Provost at Tufts University. 2011, Satish K. Tripathi appointed as President of University at Buffalo, the State University of New York. 2011, Rohit Gupta wins over 100 international awards and accolades for his films Life, Camera Action, and Another Day Another Life. 2012, Ami Bera is elected to the House of Representatives from California. 2012, Dinesh D'Souza directs and releases the documentary film 2016, Obama's America, which is highly successful and becomes the second highest grossing political film of all time. 2013, Hachette publishes cartoonist Francis Cleatus' compilation of its Geek to Me Tech-Toons titled Total Time Pass Tech-Toons. 2013, Sri Srinivasan is confirmed as a judge of the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit. 2013, Nina Davuluri wins Miss America 2014. 2013, Arun M. Kumar appointed as Assistant Secretary and Director General of the U.S. and Foreign Commercial Service, International Trade Administration in the Department of Commerce. 2014, Satya Nadella appointed as CEO of Microsoft. Classification. According to the official U.S. racial categories employed by the United States Census Bureau, Office of Management and Budget and other U.S. government agencies, American citizens or resident aliens who marked Asian Indian as their ancestry or wrote in a term that automatically gets classified as an Asian Indian get classified as part of the Asian race on the 2000 U.S. Census. As with other modern official U.S. government racial categories, the term Asian is in itself a broad and heterogeneous classification, encompassing all peoples with origins in the original peoples of the Far East, Southeast Asia, and the Indian subcontinent. In previous decades, Indian Americans were also variously classified as White American, the Hindu race, and other. Even today, where individual Indian Americans do not racially self-identify, and instead report Muslim, Jewish, and Zoroastrian as their race in the some other race section without noting their country of origin, they are automatically tallied as white. This may result in the counting of persons such as Indian Muslims, Indian Jews, and Indian Zoroastrians as white, if they solely report their religious heritage without their national origin. Current social issues, discrimination. In the 1980s, a gang known as the Dotbusters specifically targeted Indian Americans in Jersey City, New Jersey with violence and harassment. Studies of racial discrimination, as well as stereotyping and scapegoating of Indian Americans have been conducted in recent years. In particular, racial discrimination of Indian Americans in the workplace has been correlated with Indophobia due to the rise in outsourcing offshoring paranoia, whereby Indian Americans are blamed for U.S. companies offshoring white-collar labor to India. According to the offices of the Congressional Caucus on India, many Indian Americans are severely concerned of a backlash, though nothing serious has taken place yet. Due to various socio-cultural reasons, implicit racial discrimination against Indian Americans largely go unreported by the Indian American community. numerous cases of religious stereotyping of American Hindus have also been documented. Since the September 11, 2001 attacks, there have been scattered incidents of Indian Americans becoming mistaken targets for hate crimes. In one example, a Sikh, Balbir Singh Sodhi, was murdered at a Phoenix gas station by a white supremacist. This happened after September 11, and the murderer claimed that his turban made him think that the victim was a Middle Eastern American. In another example, a pizza deliverer was mugged and beaten in Massachusetts for being Muslim, though the victim pleaded with the assailants that he was in fact Hindu. In December 2012, an Indian American in New York City was pushed from behind onto the tracks at the 40th Street Lowry Street station in Sunnyside and killed. The police arrested a woman, Erica Menendez, who admitted to the act and justified it, stating that she shoved him onto the tracks because she believed he was a Hindu or a Muslim, and she wanted to retaliate for the attacks of September 11, 2001. In 2004, New York Senator Hillary Clinton joked at a fundraising event with South Asians for Nancy Farmer that Mahatma Gandhi owned a gas station in downtown St. Louis, fueling the stereotype that gas stations are owned by Indians and other South Asians. She clarified in the speech later that she was just joking, but still received some criticism for the statement later on, for which she apologized again. On April 5, 2006, the Hindu Mandir of Minnesota was vandalized allegedly on the basis of religious discrimination. The vandals damaged temple property, leading to $200,000 worth of damage. On August 11, 2006, Senator George Allen allegedly referred to an opponent's political staffer of Indian ancestry as macaca, and commenting, "Welcome to America, to the real world of Virginia." Some members of the Indian American community saw Allen's comments, and the backlash that may have contributed to Allen losing his re-election bid, as demonstrative of the power of YouTube in the 21st century. In 2006, then Delaware Senator and current U.S. Vice President Joe Biden was caught on microphone saying, "In Delaware, the largest growth in population is Indian Americans moving from India. You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking." On August 5, 2012, white supremacist Wade Michael Page shot 6 people and killed 4 at a Sikh Gurdwara in Oak Creek, Wisconsin. Illegal immigration. In 2009, the Department of Homeland Security estimated that there were 200,000 Indian unauthorized immigrants. They are the 6th largest nationality of illegal immigrants behind Mexico, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and the Philippines. Indian Americans are also the fastest growing illegal immigrant group in the United States, with an increase in illegal immigration of 125% since 2000. Immigration. Indians are among the largest ethnic groups legally immigrating to the United States. The immigration of Indians has taken place in several waves since the first Indian came to the United States in the 1700s. A major wave of immigration to California from the region of Punjab took place in the first decade of the 20th century. Another significant wave followed in the 1950s, which mainly included students and professionals. The elimination of immigration quotas in 1965 spurred successively larger waves of immigrants in the late 1970s and early 1980s. With the technology boom of the 1990s, the largest influx of Indians arrived between 1995 and 2000. This latter group has also caused surge in the application for various immigration benefits, including applications for green card. This has resulted in long waiting periods for people born in India from receiving these benefits. As of 2012, over 330,000 Indians were on the visa wait list, third only to Mexico and the Philippines. Media. Politics. Several groups have tried to create a voice for the community in political affairs, including the United States India Political Action Committee and the Indian American Leadership Initiative, as well as pan-ethnic groups such as South Asian Americans Leading Together and DASIS Rising Up and Moving. Additionally, there are industry groups such as the Asian American Hotel Owners Association and the Association of American Physicians of Indian Origin. A majority tend to identify as moderates and have voted for Democrats in recent elections. Polls before the 2004 U.S. presidential election showed Indian Americans favoring Democratic candidate John Kerry over Republican George W. Bush by a 53% to 14% margin, with 30% undecided at the time. The Republican Party has tried to target this community for political support, and in 2007, Republican Congressman Bobby Jindal became the first United States governor of Indian descent when he was elected governor of Louisiana. Nikki Haley, also of Indian descent and a fellow Republican, became governor of South Carolina in 2010. Republican Neil Kashkari is also of Indian descent and is running for governor in the California gubernatorial election, 2014. Notable Indian Americans. See also: Model minority, Hinduism in the United States, Jainism in the United States, Sikhism in the United States, American-born confused Desi, Demographics of the United States, Desi, hyphenated American, Indian students abroad, Indian diaspora, United States foreign-born per capita income, Demographics of India, Indian Filipino, Americans in India, Indo-Caribbean American, references. External links, articles, Indian Americans, The New Model Minority Forbes, Stereotypes in Schooling, Negative Pressures in the American Educational System on Hindu Identity Formation by Yvette Rosser, News, Asian Americans Diverse Voices Share Similar Stories, The Indian American Population Boom, September 1, 2006, Rediff.com, CNN.com, India's Influence Soars, The Un-China Could Be World's Next Economic Superpower, June 18, 2006, The Indian Express, December 17, 2004, Indians Are No One Among Asians in U.S., Census Shows, ModelMinority.com, March 10, 2004, Indian Americans Fear Outsourcing Impact, Worries. About Technical Job Losses, Discrimination, Echoes of Freedom, South Asian Pioneers in California, 1899-1965, Newsweek, March 6, 2006, My Two Lives by Jhumpa Lahiri, Photography Project, widely exhibited across museums in the U.S., Historic Photography Project, of Indians living in late 1980s in America.